Hi guys, how are you doing today? Ready for some new stories from Ask a Lawyer? I have some good ones today. Let's go to the first one, about sister-in-law who is evicting OP's mother from her family house, but demands OP buys her daughter a car. Well, sister-in-law doesn't sound entitled at all. Listen to the end of the story to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. My brother and his ex-wife, after their divorce, have been in a bitter 10-year fight over properties and money. My mother-in-law's house and ex-sister-in-law's mother's house are their properties as well. The supposed deal was nobody was going to mess with the moms until they both passed away or went to live somewhere else. I've begged for my brother for literally years to put that in writing, but typical, he never did anything. Yesterday, my mom received an eviction notice from my ex-sister-in-law. It is a very bitter and hard pill to swallow for my mom since my grandma just died. But here's the thing. I am fortunate enough to have money to buy my mom's house, cash. But my ex-sister-in-law is so bitter towards my brother. She has told me numerous times she will never sell it to any of us. She would rather burn the property. I've begged my mom to move out. I can buy a different house, but she has lived in that house for 20 years. My dad and grandma passed in that house, and she doesn't want to move. I refuse to hire a lawyer to get my mom out of this one. I will pay for a house, but I won't fight the eviction or pay uselessly to attempt to get this house for her. My brother is now, supposedly, suing my ex-sister-in-law, but who knows. Anyway, my niece's sweet 16 is approaching. I don't have a super close relationship with her anymore because her mother doesn't really allow her to be close with us that much. She's also a teen and not very interested in family. I know she has nothing to do with this, and I will give her a gift. But my brother and ex-sister-in-law expect me, and even promised her that I would get her a big gift, like a car, and I just don't want to do it. I have money, yes. I could do it, yes. But I'm not going to use my money on their kid when I have to buy my mom a house. If I'm honest, there's also a lot of resentment over having to be dragged into this mess, and I feel I don't want anything to do with that entire family. This is just the latest of a 10-year drama in which we have all been harassed by this lady. I told this to my sister-in-law, and she is furious, saying that her child has nothing to do with grown-ups' business, and I need to get her a car. Am I being unreasonable here? Info. I appreciate all of your answers. I'm glad to know I'm not crazy, and this is indeed an insane situation. Here's some extra information. 1. I don't live in the U.S. In my country, buying property using someone else's name is not really possible, and my ex-sister-in-law has said she won't sell it to anyone anyway. 2. The reason I refuse to get a lawyer is, first, because I paid for a series of consultation fees, and the lawyers have advised me to not sue because I would waste my money. My mom has no case. She has to move. It's the law in my country, and it is very landlord-oriented. My brother can appeal, but it is just to buy her time. 3. Apparently, my ex-sister-in-law also obtained sole ownership of the house and her own mother's house through a corrupt government official. My brother has been told it is going to be virtually impossible to get it back. All they can do now is sue for fraud. We'll see. 4. My mom is indeed devastated. I get it. It is her house. It is an awful situation. But there's a point where one has to give up. And I think her refusing to leave on her own terms is harmful. She's still refusing to leave until the absolute last minute. Oh, added insult to injury. Ex-sister-in-law is suing also for damage to the property, rent fees for 10 years, and lawyer fees. Whoa! So sister-in-law is putting OP's mother on the street, but wants OP to buy her child a car? It doesn't matter if OP can give a big gift. OP's not obligated to. And OP doesn't have to make good on promises someone else made on her behalf. OP should give her niece $20 and wish her a happy birthday. Also, I would tell sister-in-law if OP didn't have to clean up her mess, her daughter might have gotten a bigger present than this. But since sister-in-law drags OP into that mess, and she has to help her mother out, she gets what she gets. Let's see if the community agrees with my opinion on the matter. Real Star Eyes says, not the a-hole. You aren't obligated to make any gifts at all, and this money belongs to you. However, please hire a lawyer. Otherwise, the trouble goes on and on. Cy Lash says, not the a-hole. Your ex-sister-in-law sounds like a very troubled person. She is in no position to make promises of gifts to her daughter on your behalf. You don't need to pay or gift anything you don't want to. Note, if your niece is living with ex-sister-in-law, then I'd check up on her, just to make sure that nasty behavior isn't escalating towards her daughter behind the scenes. Just a suggestion. Hooks and Chains 13 says, "Not the a-hole. Your niece deserves absolutely nothing from you. I would never expect my aunt to purchase me a car or throw me a party." My grandfather died in early February, and he left his house to me since I'm the oldest grandchild, and all of the belongings in the house to his children. However, he gave his wife a life interest, which means she can stay in the house as long as she wants to, so I share the house with her. A bit of backstory. Everyone hates his wife because she treated my family like crap for over 20 years. A few weeks ago, my mother came by the house because she wanted to take one of his TVs to her house, and the widow threw a tantrum, openly disrespecting my mother and threatening to call the police if she didn't leave. My mother told her that she didn't want any trouble, she just wanted the TV, which was rightfully hers, and that would be it. A lawyer came and settled it, and my mother took the TV, and that was that. Yesterday, she sent my mother a cease and desist letter at her workplace, as well as a restraining order preventing my mother from coming near the house. My mom used to be the only person in the family who actually liked her, so this caused a rift. Now the wife is threatening me with a lawyer because I don't pay bills. I'm still a student, so I don't work yet. My close family thinks she's doing all this because she wants the house for herself. So I decided to end all this and sell the house and all the stuff in it. Now her family, who have nothing to do with the issue, are attacking me, saying she'll have no place to live and I'm a horrible person, but I've had enough of this conflict. Am I the a-hole? Oh boy, I wonder how OP would feel if someone came into his house and tried to take his TV. What a gross show of entitlement his mom showed by going to gouge a TV from the house, acting all shocked when someone gets mad when you decided you deserve their stuff. I also like how everyone totally hates her, but all the family members are mad that OP wants to sell the house and kick Grandma out. DC Law Dude says, "Everyone sucks here. You're an a-hole for doing this out of vindictiveness. And if she has a life estate, this is illegal as duck, since she is essentially a legal owner of the house for the remainder of her life. You cannot just sell the house out from under her. I am a lawyer, but I am not your lawyer. Talk to a lawyer. Enjoy your likely lawsuit if you go through with this. You deserve it." She's an a-hole because she is and was acting like a giant a-hole unnecessarily, no doubt about it. But consider this. Her husband died less than 2 months ago. She's likely still intensely grieving, so it wouldn't be surprising if she was acting irrationally or extremely and in a bad emotional place. Did you not consider this context? Oro Reb 1345 says, "You're the a-hole. Can't you guys just leave the house as is until your grandfather's widow is passed as well? In my experience, old people get very particular, especially about their homes. No one should be ransacking the place. I see from your reply about your mom that she called ahead, but really she shouldn't have tried to take anything at all. You're both the a-hole, and just leave the poor woman alone." Edit. After reading all the comments, I decided to call a counselor to hold a family meeting. Hopefully something good turns up out of this, and the conflict will end. I'd hate for this to turn into a disgusting legal battle. Edit. To all of you telling me to get a job and I'm living rent-free, there's a law where I live that protects students under a certain age from being sued for living rent-free under a relative. Once I pass that age, I have to pay property taxes and bills. Edit. I realize I've been a massive jerk in this situation. I'll try to apologize to her for even suggesting it as a start, and hopefully get my mom to do the same, and maybe this can be the beginning of peace. Her mother had issues with infidelity, but it didn't matter because she was so much wealthier than me. She hired some amazing lawyers and took me to the cleaners. She even managed to secure primary custody, and I can't so much as take her to the doctor without approval from ex-wife, who successfully managed to poison our relationship and feed my daughter lies. I petitioned alienation to the court, which all but ignored my pleas. So me and my daughter began to grow apart to the point where I only saw her for Thanksgiving, a weekend here and there, and maybe for her birthday. Her mother has villainized me to the point where the only thing in my life connected to her is some pictures and her college fund that I have access to. Or what's left of it, of course. I promised that I'd fund her education, up to her doctorate, and she's been unsure of if she was going to do it. She got engaged recently, and I gladly offered to fund about 65% of the wedding, of which her soon-to-be husband's parents and maybe the couple can cover the rest. Imagine my surprise when I found out that I wasn't invited, after her aunt excitedly showed me her invitation and I realized that I hadn't got one, whereas pretty much everyone else has. So I reached out to her tentatively to make sure that I was invited to the wedding, and I got a pretty curt response. a thinly veiled suggestion for me to steer clear of it. At this point, I've had enough. Despite what I've been made out to be, I have always loved her and tried to do right by her, even though I'm pretty much a glorified piggy bank. I don't think it's unreasonable to be invited to my own daughter's wedding that I am funding most of, voluntarily. I thought over it some more, then decided to hell with it. I've done my duty as a father to the utmost best of my ability, and I refuse to be taken advantage of even more than I already have. So I want to pool my support for the wedding and a potential graduate degree until we have a proper relationship, because I have needs too. I informed her yesterday, and she lost her crap on me and blocked my number. Am I the a-hole? While there are two sides to every story, we only have OPs to base a judgment on. Obviously, OP's ex has made her not invite OP. God knows the poison she spewed. So, based on what OP said, daughter or not, I'd pull every last dime from her. If she wants a relationship, then she can do it for just the relationship and not the money. Daughter's boyfriend better see the writing on the wall and run. These women are toxic, and mom seems a bit unbalanced. Overpregnant says, not the a-hole. Good Lord. That anyone would have the gall to accept money and cut you out like that is beyond. I'm usually a do-everything-for-your-kids kind of person, but this treatment is just cruel and purposefully hurtful. No one needs to prostrate themselves for that. K2 to Dub says, not the a-hole. You don't need to pay for a wedding you aren't invited to, and you don't have to pay for your alienated daughter's tuition. Red Bull Metal says, not the a-hole of the year. If you are funding any part of the wedding, them trying to pull a fast one and not have you invited is a punch right in the face. If you pay for any kind of any event, you should expect to be welcome there. The curt response sounds like they made it clear that they don't want you there. Painful, but that means you shouldn't spend a penny if you're not invited. Even if they backtrack, give them the FU. Long story short, I, male 31, have been with my now wife for 3 years in total. We got married days ago. I love my in-laws, however some of them clearly don't like me for some reason. My mother-in-law tends to be mean and controlling, although she never says anything bad to me directly. Her behavior is the issue. Mother-in-law and most of the family are in close relationship with my wife's ex-husband. He was out of the country for a year or so, but I noticed he was being invited to family events, birthdays, family trips me and wife just decided not to go to because of how awkward it was. It's awful I haven't bonded well with my nieces and nephews. They talk about the ex instead of me. I don't hang out with wife's brothers, nor do any family stuff with them, because ex has taken over. He always either ignores me or insults me to my face. He's 10 times better financially than me. I talked to my mother-in-law. She firmly shut me down, saying it's her house, it's her life, she invites whoever she wants, period. Before the wedding, I discovered my mother-in-law sent a secret invitation to her former son-in-law. I told her no, but she argued about it. My wife and I put our foot down. That's when mother-in-law stepped back. At our wedding, I saw her, father-in-law, coming with their former son-in-law. I was in shock. I pulled them aside and asked why they brought him, that he needed to leave. I didn't want him in my wedding. Mother-in-law argued that it's her guest. Family don't need invitation. I reminded her it's my wedding. I asked the guy to leave. They jumped to defend him, but I insisted, telling them they can leave as well. Mother-in-law called me an insecure jerk, controlling, and her daughter should call off the wedding right then. When my wife agreed with me, they screamed at her, talking about me being an aggressor. My parents weren't pleased by that. My mother-in-law left and others followed. We're not speaking right now, and I've been getting berated by the family for kicking out their guest out of spite and disrespect towards the family, and how that affected their relationship with their former son-in-law. He wasn't just their guest, but OP's wife's ex-husband. That's extremely inappropriate, no matter how you cut it. Was he planning on objecting to the wedding to declare his love for her? Or was it just to ruin the event for both OP and his fiancée by him being there? Either way, it was meant to intentionally hurt OP. Obviously, they're hoping his constant presence with their support will bring their daughter around. But now it looks like they could lose their daughter over this. OP needs to cut out anyone who takes their side after knowing the facts. Otherwise Table says, not the a-hole. Your in-laws are out of line, but I'm very glad your wife has your back. Sounds like you'll be hanging out with your side of the family more, and the ex can have the selfish side. Music Lover says, not the a-hole. First, your wedding, your choice. Second, It's highly inappropriate for an ex to attend their former partner's wedding without being invited by their former partner. Third, they were told that he was not welcome. They have no right to surprise you with this and whine about your very clear, very expected reaction. Hikaru says, "Not the a-hole. I find it ironic that she calls you aggressive and controlling when she's the one trying to take control and be aggressive to her daughter by inviting her ex. Who does that? Controlling and aggressive people." Without being too specific, I work in a social setting and a lot of my coworkers will have friends come in from time to time. One coworker, I'll call Kelly, has a friend, Amanda, who comes in occasionally. Kelly and I are work friends, and Amanda and I have spoken quite a bit. She's very pretty, and there's definitely been some chemistry between us. Kelly strongly pushed me to ask her out, and recently after a shift, I did. She said yes, and we planned to date. Day before said date, Amanda asks if we can push our reservations back 30 minutes because her babysitter can't get there as early as she thought. I did not realize she had kids, and honestly, I'm just not interested in dating someone with kids. Just not for me. I responded to her, "Hey, no worries, but actually didn't realize you had kids. I'm not looking to date anyone with kids, so I think it's better we just stay friendly and we can cancel the date." She sent a very short text after, and I thought that was that. Well, Kelly then sees me at work and goes off on me, telling me I'm a huge jerk and being judgmental and all that, and even got some other coworkers who are single parents to sort of gang up on me. Other coworkers are on my side, but said I should have gone through with the date and then told her I wasn't interested in pursuing it further. My mindset at the time was I just don't want to pay for a date and have her pay for a babysitter if I know there's no future. Am I the a-hole there? Well, OP wasn't judgmental at all. He just said that dating someone with kids was not for him. I think OP did the right thing and didn't waste his or the girl's time and money. I think OP was perfectly reasonable. Deleted user says, "Not the a-hole. I have a son, and if a guy canceled because of your same reasons, I'd respect that he saved me money from a night out and paying a babysitter. Plus, you were polite about it, so that's an extra not the a-hole for me." Perplexed J says, "Not the a-hole. Not wanting to date someone who has kids is a perfectly reasonable preference to have. I don't understand why they said you should have gone through with the date anyway. Not only would it have been a waste of money for the both of you, but it also would have been a waste of time and possibly got her hopes up for something that was never going to happen. Better to happen before the date than after, when the ending would be the same either way." Welt All 8000 says, "Not the a-hole. If you know you don't want to be involved with someone with children, that is very reasonably a deal breaker, automatic disqualification. That is your prerogative, and that's fine."